This is NHK World Japan. We bring you the news from Radio Japan at 11 hours UTC on Monday, June 18th. I'm Yoshio Gasawara.
And I'm Hiroko Kitadai.
In our top stories, Monday's major earthquake in western Japan has left at least 3 people dead and nearly 350 injured.
The quake has also damaged nationally designated cultural assets in Kyoto and Nara prefectures, which neighbor Osaka.
And Japan's Prime Minister has expressed the hope that mutual trust can be built with North Korea to help resolve the issue of the abductions of Japanese citizens by the North. And now the news in detail. Monday's major earthquake in western Japan has left at least 3 people dead and nearly 350 injured. The meteorological agency is warning it's possible another big earthquake could hit in the coming days. Agency officials say frequent seismic activity is continuing in the northern part of Osaka Prefecture. Strong tremors may have raised the risk of landslides or building collapse. People in such areas are advised to watch out for further seismic activity and rain. The earthquake struck before 8 a.m. in northern Osaka and measured 6.1 in magnitude. On Japan's seismic intensity scale of 0 to 7, it's categorized as a 6-. 9-year-old Rina Miyake was killed when a wall collapsed while she was on her way to school. 80-year-old Minoru Yasui was also hit by a falling wall in a different area. He was on his way to do volunteer work for a local school. 85-year-old Motochika Goto was killed after a bookshelf fell on him. Many of the injured have been taken to hospital, with the biggest number of injuries reported in the prefecture of Osaka. Authorities are also dealing with damage. Firefighters have put out 3 house fires in northern Osaka. Pipes have cracked underneath some roads, and ceiling tiles fell in city halls in Osaka, Hyogo, and Nara prefectures, as well as at the terminal building of the Osaka airport. Around 1,300 people have fled to evacuation centers set up across Osaka. 100,000 homes are without gas, and water outages are being reported in the northern half of Osaka. Shinkansen bullet train services in the area were suspended for hours for safety checks. All services resumed in the afternoon, but there were numerous cancellations and delays. Local trains have also been affected, stranding thousands of passengers. Japan's nuclear regulator says no problems have been found with reactors in Fukui Prefecture. They're located to the north of the quake's epicenter.
A city mayor has apologized for 9-year-old Rina Miyake's death in the earthquake. She was crushed when a 40-meter section of a concrete wall at a school swimming pool fell on top of her. Takatsuki Mayor Takeshi Hamada told reporters on Monday afternoon that the city will investigate the cause of the collapse. He added that the city bears responsibility of some kind for the incident. The city plans to check the walls at all of its elementary and junior high schools.
Meanwhile, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has instructed his ministers to provide full support for people affected by the earthquake. He called a meeting of relevant ministers. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga and Disaster Management Minister Hachiro Okonogi were among the meeting's participants held on Monday evening. Abe said the powerful earthquake with its epicenter in northern Osaka has claimed the lives of a small child and 2 senior citizens. He expressed his condolences to those who died. He also said his heart is with those who were injured and otherwise affected by the jolt. Abe said the government has made a united effort in information gathering, communications, and search and rescue operations. He added, however, that some people still do not have access to essential lifelines such as public transportation systems, gas, and water. He instructed the ministers to enlist help from across the nation to restore these services as soon as possible. Abe said it's possible that more shelters, water, and other relief supplies may become necessary as the extent of the damage becomes clearer. He said the important thing is to be proactive. He asked the ministers to investigate the need for shelters, food, and daily supplies as soon as possible. Abe also reminded the meeting's members about the risks of walls collapsing by referring to the schoolgirl who died after she was trapped when a wall fell on top of her. He urged the ministers to ensure post-disaster safety of school children.
Japan's health ministry says the earthquake caused a blackout at a hospital in Osaka Prefecture. Power was restored in the afternoon. The ministry says gas and water supplies have also been disrupted at the National Cerebral and Cardiovascular Center in Suita City. The hospital is said to have 20 patients who use auxiliary artificial hearts. Another 50 are on artificial respirators and 5 need dialysis. It is not known if these patients were affected by the blackout. 6 patients were slightly injured in the quake, and a number of others had to be evacuated because of water leaks. Arrangements are underway to transfer some patients, including those in an intensive care unit, to nearby hospitals. The center will not accept new patients on Monday and Tuesday, but exceptions will be made for people who need emergency treatment. The Ground Self-Defense Force dispatched 4 water supply vehicles to the hospital following a request for assistance from the Osaka prefectural governor.
The quake has also damaged nationally designated cultural assets in Kyoto and Nara prefectures, which neighbor Osaka. Kyoto registered a jolt of 5+ on the Japanese seismic intensity scale of 0 to 7. Local authorities say a crack was found on the outer wall of a tea house at the Myokyang Temple in the town of Oyamazaki. It was built more than 400 years ago by legendary tea master Senno Rikyu. The tea house, named Taiyang, is a designated national treasure. It was built under the order of 16th century Japanese ruler Toyotomi Hideyoshi. The temple says the crack measures about 2 meters, but the mud wall is not at immediate risk of collapse. Temple officials noted this is the first time an earthquake has caused a crack. A wooden transom also came loose in the study corridor of the temple's main building, which is a state-designated important cultural property. Further damage was found on a house blending traditional and modern architecture called Chokikukyo in the town of Oyamazaki. Some windows were shattered and its outer wall was damaged. The Japanese government has designated the 90-year-old building as an important cultural property. Nara prefectural authorities say an embellishment on one of the so-called 4 heavenly king statues at the renowned Todaiji Temple fell, but was not damaged.
Osaka and its surrounding areas are home to some of Japan's biggest industrial firms and factories. Some of them have been affected by the earthquake, but there are no reports of any serious damage so far. Komatsu has suspended operations at a plant in Hirakata City in Osaka. The construction machinery maker says the tremor damaged part of a ceiling at the plant's office building. Workers are checking for possible disruptions to the production line. Komatsu says no staff members were injured. Another machinery maker, Kubota, has suspended operations for the day at its Hirakata plant to check for damage. Oil wholesalers JXTG and Cosmo Energy say there has been no damage to their refineries in the quake-hit area.
Osaka prefectural officials are urging people to keep calm and refrain from sharing unsubstantiated information on social media after Monday's earthquake. One widely shared tweet claimed the roof of the Kyocera Dome Osaka Stadium is cracked. The operator denies this. Other cases of false information include a train derailment and a zebra escaping from a zoo. Messages inciting discrimination against foreigners living in Japan are also spreading. One post advises people to watch out for thefts and burglaries by foreign residents. Another says foreigners are not accustomed to quakes, so they'll start looting convenience stores or rushing to airports. Social media users are posting messages to counter the discriminatory ones. One user says, People should be aware that racists use major disasters to spread false information. Another says fake news spreads during disasters and that people need to improve their media literacy so they can detect false information.
You're listening to Radio Japan of the NHK World Japan Network. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has expressed the hope that mutual trust can be built with North Korea to help resolve the long-standing issue of the abductions of Japanese citizens by the North. At an upper house committee meeting on Monday, Abe said North Korea should disclose everything it knows about the abductions and allow all the victims to return home as soon as possible. He said North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's leadership was demonstrated in his recent summit meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump. Abe also said he wants to end the mutual distrust between Tokyo and Pyongyang and take a step forward. The Prime Minister said he will need to meet with Kim, but if that happens, the talks must contribute to resolving the abductions issue. He said he hopes to conduct diplomacy based on reality that will produce an outcome. On last week's summit between Trump and Kim, Abe said he told Trump back in April that he should sign a document with Kim. He added that the summit ended with a joint statement that will serve as the basis for Pyongyang's denuclearization.
Prosecutors have demanded the death penalty for a man accused of killing a 9-year-old Vietnamese girl in Chiba Prefecture near Tokyo. Yasumasa Shibuya, who is 47, is charged with killing Le Thi Nyat Lin in March last year after kidnapping her on her way to school in Matsudo City. Her body was found in a nearby city. Shibuya was the head of the school's Parents Association at the time. Prosecutors told the Chiba District Court on Monday that there is plenty of evidence to substantiate the suspicion that Shibuya killed the girl. They said his DNA was found on the victim's body. The prosecutors also said it's clear that Shibuya strangled the girl to death after kidnapping and molesting her. They said it was an abnormal crime targeting the weak and was extremely malicious. They added that Shibuya is cold-hearted and cruel with no conscience. The defense counsel said the accused is not the culprit, and the prosecutors have failed to fully prove their case. Shibuya maintained his innocence again. He asked the judge and lay judges to make a fair decision and bowed to them. The court is due to hand down a ruling on July 6th.
Nissan is halting its development of fuel cell cars. Company officials have concluded that demand for the vehicles is unlikely to take off anytime soon. Nissan announced plans in 2013 to develop and mass-produce fuel cell cars with Daimler of Germany and Ford of the United States. But the company says high vehicle price tags and delays in setting up hydrogen stations have limited the market potential. Rival car maker Toyota has put fuel cell vehicles on the market, but sales remain sluggish. That's in contrast to electric vehicles, which are gaining traction worldwide. Nissan officials say they'll maintain their tie-up with the two foreign automakers and continue studies on fuel cell vehicles. But they say they will focus on electric vehicles and hybrid cars, both of which are already being mass-produced. And that was the news from Radio Japan of the NHK World Japan Network. I'm Hiroko Kitadai.
And I'm Yoshi Ogasawara.
Please stay tuned. This is NHK World Japan.